Hi, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. If you have any questions up front, you are welcome to put them in the chat box on the right side of the screen, and we'll get to them after the presentation. Thanks.
How the hell do I get to it?
Hi, sir. Thank you for joining us. We're going to get started in a few minutes. If you want to just hold tight, we're going to make sure that any stragglers can go ahead and get connected.
Thanks so much for joining us this evening. My name is Ryan Fagan. I'm a project manager with the City of Tucson Department of Transportation and Mobility, and I'm here to talk to you about the Marianne Cleveland Way shared use path that we're planning. So just so you know, we're going to have a quick presentation, and then we'll be answering questions and responding to any comments anyone may have. So you can submit a comment or question anytime in the chat box on the right side of the screen if you're attending via Microsoft Teams. If you are calling in and you have something you want to say, you can do that at the end of the presentation, and we'll let you know how to do that.
Bienvenidos, gracias por acompañarnos en esta presentación de Marianne Cleveland Way Shared Use Path. Tenemos instrucciones en la pantalla para cómo activar los subtítulos. Puede enviar un comentario a cualquier momento en el chat a la derecha de la pantalla y vamos a tener un tiempo al final de la presentación para que usted haga sus preguntas, y hay manera de hacerlo sobre el teléfono también, y le vamos a dar las instrucciones para hacer eso ya que acabemos con la presentación. Gracias por acompañarnos.
So just a quick rundown of what we're going to be talking about this evening. I'll be giving a presentation where I'll touch on Tucson Delivers, also known as Proposition 407. I'll talk about the Marianne Cleveland Way shared use path, and then I'll talk briefly about some existing public art along Marianne Cleveland Way that we're going to have to move a little bit in order to accommodate the path. And then after that, we'll answer any questions or comments that you may have. So why are we here? Well, City of Tucson voters approved improvements to pedestrian and bicycle facilities within the city, and we want to talk to you. We want to let you know what's going on, and we want to hear your thoughts on it. So in November 2018, City of Tucson voters approved Proposition 407, and that was a package of transportation and parks improvements. That's part of the Tucson Delivers umbrella now. So Tucson Delivers Strong Connections refers to the transportation projects that are funded by that bond package. It's over 50 projects in total. That includes 31 bicycle boulevards, 3 protected bike lane projects, 10 pedestrian safety and walkability projects, 5 greenways, and 3 shared use paths, and that totals over 130 miles of projects. So you can see the 4 main types of projects here. Bicycle boulevards on the top left are on-street bike routes that are typically on neighborhood streets. They're shared streets. Protected bike lanes have a physical separation from the bike area of the street from vehicles. Pedestrian safety and walkability projects provide complete and accessible sidewalks, landscaping, public art, lighting, and other amenities. And then greenways and shared use paths are multi-use paths that are typically asphalt paths. So just a little more detail on greenways and shared use paths. There are paths for walking, bicycling, any non-motorized modes, roller skating, whatever you enjoy. And people using assistive devices like wheelchairs as well, and they can be used for transportation or for recreation. So these types of paths are off-street. Greenways are typically adjacent to washes. Shared use paths are typically adjacent to major streets, in this case, Marianne Cleveland Way. So additionally, where possible, we add landscaping to provide shade. And where there are major street crossings, we also provide improvements there in order to allow users of the path to safely get across major streets. So just a few details on this project. It's 1.3 miles. It's a 10-foot wide asphalt path that runs along the north side of Marianne Cleveland Way, and it will connect Houghton Road to Atterbury Wash Way. So the reason we're building it, currently there's a gap in the transportation network along here. There's currently no sidewalks or paths along this stretch of Marianne Cleveland Way. We know actually that there are kids who are already walking to Empire High School, and people are already walking along Marianne Cleveland Way in the dirt, and we really want to provide a better facility. It'll make it so that kids can walk it back to school. People who live in the area can make use of it to get to several destinations, and it'll also connect to a planned path along Houghton that'll go head north from Marianne Cleveland Way. So just a quick, just a real simple map here showing the project area. The project is shown in a white line. You can see on the west side, it'll connect to Reeder Ranch and the Houghton Town Center. It'll run in front of Empire High School, and then Esmond Station Regional Park, the library that's under construction, and it'll also connect to the Esmond Station K-8 school and Mountain Vale Estates. So here's just the latest detail on where exactly the path is going to run in this area. If you want to look at it more closely, you're welcome to go to the project website, and that's a bit.ly link, so it's bit.ly/mac-way. So just real quickly, I want to talk about some public art that's existing along Marianne Cleveland Way here. It was actually installed as part of the project when Marianne Cleveland Way was first built. It's in front of Empire High School. You can see the star showing the location of it. So you can see on the right side, it consists of 5 rusted metal sculptures of cacti and a couple different types of birds. They're pretty cool. And the pieces that are circled in red, you can see those are the ones we're proposing to move. If you look on the left side, you can see they're right in the middle of where the path is going. We're kind of constrained as to where the path can go in this area, so these pieces would have to move just a few feet to the south in order to make room for the path, and so that's what we're proposing to do. And as you can see, if on the right side, these sculptures are currently in front of the Empire High School parking lot. And you can see now those circles have moved to show where that is gonna where we're proposing to move those. So if you have any comments or questions about this, we're working with the Arts Foundation for Tucson and Southern Arizona. They oversee all public art projects. We're working with them to ensure that these pieces are protected and that we're maintaining the integrity of them, and we're going to make sure that they're reinstalled properly. So just a quick overview of the timeline. We started planning and design of this project almost a year ago. We're hoping to finish up design in about the next month. And then in a little bit after that, we will do a pre-construction meeting. So that would be toward the end of summer, maybe early fall. And at that time, we would notify everybody in the area about the construction for the project. You'd have an opportunity to learn about how the construction is going to go, how it might impact your travel in the area. And then later in the fall, we expect to start construction. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has. Let me see. Does anybody have any questions? And if you're calling in and you have any questions, if you press, I believe it's *6 on your phone, that'll unmute you, and then you can ask a question then.
Yes, my name is Al. I didn't understand where you were moving the art projects. Is it going to be closer to the school, or is the art across the street and you're moving it to the other side?
Thanks for the question. The art is it's on the north side of the street currently. It's going to stay on the north side of the street. It's just that in order to fit in the path through that area in front of the Empire High School parking lot, there's not a lot of room to work with. In fact, one of those art pieces is actually disguising an old irrigation box. So we have to kind of thread the needle there, and we weren't able to get around the art. So what we're doing is those 3 southernmost pieces, those are just going to move a few feet to the south. They're not going to move very far at all, just enough to get out of the way of the path. But because we're going to be moving these art pieces, we have to go through a process in order to make sure that it's done the right way. Does that answer your question?
You. Yes, I answered. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
Okay, so we have a question from Mr. Rob Nemitz. His question is, are there any plans to extend Mary Ann Cleveland Way into a 4-lane divided highway? While the walking path is welcome, we really need expansion of this road as traffic is increasing due to the new residences popping up on Vale and along Mary Ann Cleveland from Cienega to Houghton.
Sure, thanks for the question. That's a good question. I believe Mary Ann Cleveland Way was actually designed originally in order to be expanded sometime in the future. Right now, that is not a programmed project, but we are going through our mobility master plan. It's called Move Tucson. And that gives everybody the opportunity to suggest projects. The outcome of that will basically feed into the reauthorization of the Regional Transportation Authority. So if you want to see that project, you can see we've added that to the chat. It's movetucson.org. We've got a survey, we've got a map where you can actually put down where you want projects to go, and you can put comments on that. So we do take all of those suggestions very seriously. And so that's how you can make yourself heard on that. And we've got, I don't know if anybody from the Ward 4 office who's here wants to add anything to that.
Sure, Ryan. This is Teresa. Hey, Rob, thanks for the question. We hear you loud and clear. That's actually a priority of Councilwoman Lee, and she's actually on this forum as well tonight. It's a priority of Councilwoman Lee. The beginning of the year, it seems so long ago, prior to COVID, we had a mayor and council retreat where each council member put down their priorities. And Councilmember Lee's main priorities were the core services, funding for public safety, roads, and she specifically put in the roads the expansion of Mary Ann Cleveland. We had a conversation earlier today and there were some representatives with the RTA board, and they are basically accumulating all of the projects currently and from all the different jurisdictions. And that is something that we are pushing on our end to include. Of course, it's going to be up to the RTA and the committee that finalizes the plan. But that's something that we've been pushing on our end from our ward. And at some point, we're going to you're on my email list. You're gonna get an email from me saying, okay, now is the time to start emailing this group of people to really mobilize and ensure that this road gets on that next plan. So that way there's funding and we have the expansion.
Great, thank you, Teresa.
We have another question from Ethan, who wants to know, how long do you anticipate the construction of the walkway to take?
That's a great question. We won't know exactly until we have a construction firm under contract, but we expect it will take perhaps 4 to 6 months, and that includes all aspects of the project, including installing landscaping. So we will be able to communicate more about that when we are at the stage where we're doing a pre-construction meeting. And if you were notified about this project, you'll hear about that as well. And we can talk about that and how that might impact you. But any specific traffic issues that might arise, for example, the project's going to go across a few driveways. That's probably the most significant impact that might happen. Those should be much shorter, and we'll work with the Vail School District and the county where the park and the library are located in order to minimize those impacts.
So we had a comment that a constituent is thrilled for this new addition to our community. I believe you answered their question if there's an estimated completion date. Another additional question was, will there be any sort of barrier between the pathway and the street by any chance?
Sure. So the first question, is there an estimated completion date? So we're hoping to go to construction sometime in the fall. So working forward from there, 4 to 6 months, that would probably be late winter or sometime in the spring when we would expect for it to be totally wrapped up. And then as far as the barrier, so the project, the path is going to be, for the most part, it's going to be set back pretty far from the street. In some areas, there's a ditch in between the path and the street, but it's set back far enough that based on all the latest guidelines for designs of these types of facilities, a barrier is not needed.
Another constituent wanted to know if this presentation was shareable for review for those who could not be present tonight. And yes, we do record these meetings and they will be posted on the project website listed above for a later viewing. Another constituent asked a two-part question. Any plans for streetlights or nighttime lights along the path? And if Mary Ann Cleveland did expand in the future, would this path need to be relocated or redone, and thus this project will be a, quote, waste?
Okay, so I'll answer the first question first. So this project, unfortunately, doesn't have budget for street lighting. However, I would expect, and Teresa, feel free to jump in if you can add anything to this, but I would expect that any expansion of the roadway in the future lighting would be taken into consideration there. And then if Mary Ann Cleveland is expanded in the future, so my understanding is that Mary Ann Cleveland was actually designed to be expanded to the south. So the current roadway would form like the north side of the westbound side of the road. So the path will stay if the road is widened.
I can help with the lighting. You're correct. It is a policy that when Mary Ann Cleveland was constructed originally, there was not a city policy that required lighting. And to be honest, it's a little bit of a bigger issue because of our dark skies out here, and certain constituency base would prefer not to have street lighting. And so we really have a lot of public conversations around that. Houghton Road, the new expansion of Houghton Road with the RTU project currently in progress, that will have street lighting. But when Mary Ann Cleveland is expanded in the future, it potentially will have lighting.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Did you want me to take the one about Cienega High School?
Sure, yeah, and yeah, go for it. And then if I have anything to add, I'll.
So someone asked if it's similar to the walkway along Cienega High School. It's a little bit different. That particular walkway is a little bit more narrow. This walkway will be similar to what you see currently getting built on Houghton Road. It's a multi-use path, so it's going to be very consistent with what you're currently seeing being built in the new segments of Houghton Road.
Does anybody else have any questions? And remember, if you're calling in, you can press *6 to unmute yourself. If there are no further questions, we're going to hang out here for just a little bit, just in case anybody shows up late and has any questions. I'm happy to answer questions if you want to send me an email or call me sometime. And you can visit the project website shown here on the screen to learn more about the project. Does anybody else have anything they want to add?
We got another question.
Oh, okay.
Will there be room for walkers and bikes?
Yes, so the path is 10 feet wide, so that is the standard. That's a typical engineering standard for a two-way shared use path. So yeah, it's designed to accommodate them. It's not designed to be like a extremely busy path, but for the amount of walkers and bikers that we're expecting, it should provide plenty of room. Any other questions?
We have one more question. Hi, Ryan. You mentioned that you have constraints for right-of-way. How wide will the path be? And did you mention the width? Well, same question. Did you mention the width of the multi-use path?
Yeah, so it's going to be 10 feet wide for the most part. There are a few areas where it's going to be a little narrower. There are definitely some areas that are challenging because of the amount of right-of-way that we have, the amount of space we have, and then there's challenges with drainage and the existing, especially in front of the school. There's some areas where, in order to make the path and really any wider, there would have been some serious compromises. We would have had to take out a lot of trees. We're having to remove a few, unfortunately, but we're going to replace them with more. We're going to add a lot of trees and other things to this project. But we would have had to take out a lot more trees. It would have upped the cost significantly because we would have had to build up the embankments where the path is going to be next to that drainage. So 10 feet was really kind of the sweet spot there, where it's wide enough to accommodate the uses we're expecting, but it's not so wide that it really blows the budget of the project.
And I'll just mention that Councilwoman Nikki Lee is on the call, and she just wants to thank everyone for their participation. She's having trouble unmuting. We're all adjusting to this new virtual reality.
Yeah.
We thank you so much for being on the call, Councilwoman Nikki, and we just appreciate your support in this and your involvement.
This is Al. I have a question. You indicated you were putting in a whole bunch of trees along the path. Are these going to be connected to water lines? And if so, for how long? Because a lot of the trees seem to get put in, but then they don't have water and they end up dying.
That's a very good question. So we are not planning to have them be irrigated. So they are going to be hand watered for the first 2 years to establish them. That's a pretty standard amount of time for trees that are not going to be irrigated later on. That'll give them enough time to be established. And then after that, they'll rely on rainwater, and the landscaping will be designed to collect a little more rainwater than would normally, than the trees would normally get. There'll be tree wells and so forth. So the trees are going to grow more slowly than they would if they were irrigated. There's some really nice ones in front of Empire High School that were irrigated for for a while, and they're nice and big. It's going to be a little bit longer for the trees that we're going to be putting in to get to that size. But that's kind of the direction that the city is going, where possible, in order to save water and to provide more sustainable and economical improvements.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question.
Ryan, I was told that I skipped this question, but will there be any sort of barrier between the pathway and the street?
So I think I answered that, but I'll go over that again. So there's not going to be like a built-up barrier. So the path is for the most part going to be set back a good distance from the roadway. So it'll be outside. It'll be outside of the area that car running off the road might run into. There will be a ditch in between the path and the roadway for a good length of it. So we are following engineering best practices on the distance of the path from the roadway. If it were significantly closer to the roadway, there are things like barriers that we would want to put in, but we designed it to be further back in order to provide that safety. Do we have any other questions?
Constituent Susan Reed would like to just get a quick reminder on the anticipated completion date.
Sure, that's a good question, and I'm unfortunately I can't be very precise about that, but I expect it would be late winter or sometime in the spring. Once we get a little closer to the start of construction and we have that pre-construction meeting, we'll have a clearer picture of that, and we'll be reaching out again to discuss that.
Hi, my name is Juan. I had a question about the path. Is there any plans for it to connect to the other path that's further north along Houghton, or connect all the way down to the path in front of Cienega?
That's a great question. Yeah, so the Houghton Road project that I believe is starting this fall will include a path on the east side of the roadway. So it will connect to that path heading north. So as far as the Cienega High School, yeah, there's going to be a gap between that path and Atterbury Washway. So Atterbury Washway is the east end of this project. Unfortunately, we kind of actually stretched the funds that we had to get to Atterbury Washway. The project was actually originally planned to only go as far as Empire High School. So we went as far as we could. We definitely would love to see that further connection made. If you want to see that, I would encourage you again, go to movetucson.org. Encourage other people to make their voice heard and ask for that project, because I think that's a great idea. But with what we're working with this project, Atterbury Washway is as far as we're able to go.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for the question.
This is Al. I got a question. Along the path, will there be ADA compliance there at the driveway going into Empire High School, and also along the way down there closer to the library, and also over there at the Atterbury Wash Road?
That's a great question. So the path will have ADA compliant features for people who are along the path. So it'll have like those little domes where the path meets the driveway. As far as a path into the school or into the library, that's not really within the scope of this project. That's something that you might want to talk to Vail School District or the county about. That's so at the moment, no, we're not planning on constructing a path actually into those properties.
No, I understand not going into the properties, but where the driveway will be crossing, or you will be crossing, or coming up to the driveway at the high schools. There's two entrances off of Mack Way, and also the library has an entrance off of Mary Ann Cleveland. I just want to make sure those would have the ADA as you come up to those driveways that are being put in by either the county or a driveway that's already there by the Vail School District.
Yeah, so those will have ADA compliant crossings at those driveways. Yes, in fact, we're actually planning for the driveways to be slightly elevated, and we've been working with the county and the school district on that, and that'll provide an additional measure of safety and visibility for people on the path, and it'll provide for a level and ADA compliant crossing at those driveways.
Thank you.
So Ms. Reed would like to ask, do you plan to have periodic virtual town hall meetings? This is a great way to engage interested folks who would not be likely to attend physically, even if there was no COVID.
So we do typically, once a project is underway, we will do construction updates, and so as I mentioned, we'll do a pre-construction meeting. We'll notify people about that. Anybody who's interested in following the construction process, we will be happy to engage with you on that. So we'll have a better picture of what that'll look like when we get a little further along. And also I'll always be available if anybody has any questions on the project as well. Feel free to email me or give me a call.
Susan, this is Teresa with the Ward 4 Council Office. I just want to let you know that Councilmember Lee has a virtual town hall series. And so look out for the last Wednesday of the month. So this Wednesday, the 29th, we have a virtual town hall that's going to feature Parks and Recreation. So we're going to talk about all the Parks and Recreation projects. And actually next month, we're going to have Diana Alarcon, who is the Transportation Director, and she's going to give a presentation and kind of cover a lot of the things that we talked about earlier that Rob was asking about, the RTA plans and the street projects as well as this. And so we're going to have another one then. So it's look out. You can get the information at the City of Tucson Ward 4 website. And we're hoping to have one the last Wednesday of every month.
Great, thank you.
And I'll just add that just from a public engagement standpoint, we've definitely seen the value of giving people the opportunity to join public meetings virtually. And though there are no official policies yet, I know there have been discussions through this transition and the pandemic about how we want to continue to use virtual meetings to reach individuals who maybe aren't able to leave their homes, or perhaps someone like me who's got 4 kids at home. It's not easy to throw everyone in the car and go to a meeting that's not exactly child friendly, whereas I can just throw this on my phone while I'm cooking dinner. So I know this is kind of a new way that we want to begin to interact with the public, and we're definitely open to suggestions, and we want to hear from you guys as far as what works.
Do we have any other questions?
We have one more question from an anonymous attendee. His question is, wouldn't the path connection to Cienega be in the county, not the city?
That's a great question. I believe, and I could be mistaken on this, and Teresa or somebody else feel free to jump in, but I believe that path actually goes to the city limits. It is in the county, from what I understand, but the most, if not all, of the path connection between Atterbury Washway and the path to Cienega, I believe, would be inside the city limits. I'm actually trying to pull up a map that would show that, and it is not loading. So
you're correct. You're correct, Ryan. The city So if we go east, the city of Tucson ends to where Steve Street is. And so most of us don't know where Steve Street is, but the new Knoll neighborhood right before Vale Inclusive Preschool, where there's that crosswalk right there before Cienega High School, that's basically where the city meets the county. And so the city would go up to about where that connection is, and then the county takes it further east.
So just to bring that back around, so that means that if you are interested in that connection, that would be something you'd want to submit to to the Move Tucson initiative. So we would love to get that kind of feedback. Do we have any other questions? Well, if we don't have any other questions right now, you all are welcome. If you're happy, you're welcome to hop off. We're going to stay on for a little while longer, just in case anybody shows up and has any other questions. Thanks for joining us. Have a good evening, and you're welcome to contact me if you want updates on the project at my email address, ryan.fagan@tucsonaz.gov, or you can call my work phone number is 419-2245.
Hi, Ryan. We got a question in. I don't know if Fernando, you want to read it out loud for him? Thank you.
So I think that question was already answered. They posted the question inside of their name.
Oh, the constraints for the right of, oh, okay, yeah.
We can answer it again.
Sure.
How wide will the path be?
Yeah, so the path will be 10 feet wide, and that's really because, and it'll mostly be 10 feet wide. It'll be a little narrower in some areas just because we have constraints on the space that we have available between the parking lot for Empire High School and like the ditch to the south of there, and working around some existing structures and trees there. And for anybody who's left, thank you so much for joining us and asking such great questions. It's nice to have people engaged on these sorts of things. We're excited to make this project happen. And like I said, if you have any other questions, you can feel free to enter them in the chat box while we're still here, or you can email or call me later on. Hi, if anybody's joining us late, we're happy to answer any questions or discuss the project. If you're attending by Microsoft Teams, you can enter questions in the chat box. I don't think we have any people who are calling in right now. So feel free to enter any questions, and we're happy to discuss the project in further detail. Hi, it looks like we have somebody calling in. I'm Ryan Fagan. I'm the project manager for the Mary Ann Cleveland Shared Use Path. If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself by pressing *6. We did finish with the presentation earlier and had some questions, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. So you would unmute by pressing * and then 6.
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, sorry I came in late, and so I'm a resident in the community, and so I'm not sure if this question has been asked, but I'm wondering if I saw the plans that I believe the road updates are going to happen on the north side of the street, on the northern street. So are there any plans to do any updates on the south side as well?
Not at this time. So the path will be on the north side of Mary Ann Cleveland Way. If Mary Ann Cleveland Way gets widened in the near future, that will be happening to the south. So that it's possible that there will be a path added along the south side at that time, but that would be part of the community conversation about the project when that happens. But for the moment, the path is just going to be on the north side.
Oh, okay. So there are plans of widening the street?
So there's nothing funded yet, but that's something that did come up earlier, and we had Teresa from the Ward 4 office and talking about it a little bit. So right now we're going through a mobility master plan process called Move Tucson. I don't know if you're aware of that. There's a you can take a survey and you can put down project ideas on a map that we have that's interactive at movetucson.org. So that's something that if you want to request that, that's something that you can put on there, and then ultimately the Move Tucson will be used to generate a list of projects that will go into the next RTA package, so that we'll have funding to build them.
Okay, and so are you waiting for that funding to come in, or is that something that needs to be voted on for the future?
Yeah. So yes.
The widening and.
Yeah, the widening would need to would be at least a few years away, if not further, and that would be something that would likely need to be voted on. That's my understanding is the most likely way that we'd be able to pay for projects like that would be for a reauthorization of the RTA sales tax. So yeah, so that would be coming later. This path is already funded. That was funded by Proposition 407 bond package that was passed in 2018. And so the path on the north side of the road is funded, and we're planning to go to construction in the next few months.
Okay, so I'm actually new to Tucson as well, and so I'm wondering for that ballot or that item that was voted on, was that also the one that was for the park that was supposed to be built across the street near that was part of the library, or is that something separate?
So that is something separate. So Proposition 407 did include enhancements to city parks. The Esmond Station Park next to the high school and the library is actually a county park. So that's a whole other thing.
Okay, got it.
And I know the county has like a long-term plan for a lot of improvements at that park, but that's happening under their purview. That's not the city's park.
Okay. Okay.
Hi, my name is Gerard. I'm sorry I was late coming
Sure.
to the call. I just wanted to find out. I do see that there was a question that was previously asked. Sorry to repeat it. It was with regards to the ability to extension the MAC into a 4-lane divided highway. Could you just briefly mention that one more time? Is there going to be a possibility to extend the road from a 1-lane to or 2-lane to 4-way?
So that's something that, yeah, I mean, when Mary Ann Cleveland Way was originally built, it was designed to be expanded to the south, and so any widening that would happen would most likely happen on the south side, where there's additional right-of-way available. Right now, that's not a funded project, but that's something that you can participate in the Move Tucson process. That's our mobility master plan that we're going through right now, where you can suggest that as a project, and we are using the city residents' suggestions to form a project list that would go towards go into the next RTA sales tax package in order to get it funded. You might also want to reach out to the Ward 4 office. They've heard this a lot, and they are very supportive of the idea of widening the roadway. I know that's a priority of Councilmember Lee. So if you want to see that happen, those are the two things I'd suggest.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Will you be sharing your presentation, or was it just for the purpose of the virtual meeting?
Yes, the presentation is being recorded. So the slideshow and the video of this presentation will both be shared on the project website in the next few days. So yeah, it'll be available for anybody to watch later.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ryan, could you please repeat your email and the project website for the callers on the line, just in case they want to write it down?
Oh, sure. That's a great idea. Thanks. Yeah, so my email is ryan.fagan@tucsonaz.gov. That's Ryan, RYAN, .fagan F as in Frank, AGAN @tucsonaz.gov. My phone number is 520-419-2245. And the project website is bit.ly or bit.ly. So that's bit.ly/Mac, MAC, -way, WAY. So bit.ly/Mac-way.
Thank you, Ryan.
Sure. And if there's anybody still here by phone or by computer, you're welcome to ask any further questions. We're still here for a few more minutes. Thank you to everybody for coming and asking some more questions. If there's anybody left, I just want to thank you for being engaged. And if you have any other questions or comments about the project, please feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call, and you can visit the project website to learn more. And just my email address once again, that's Ryan, R-Y-A-N .Fagan, that's F as in Frank, A-G-A-N, at TucsonAZ.gov. And my phone number is 520-419-2245. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, with that, I think we'll conclude at 6.